Hello and welcome to Shakespeare 2020 LA. Shakespeare 2020 LA is the Los Angeles division of Shakespeare Project 2020, a worldwide challenge created by Ian Desher to read the entire Shakespeare canon in 2020. Shakespeare 2020 is comprised of Los Angeles local actors, and through the magic of Zoom, we're excited to include friends from back east as well. Our reading today is The Tempest, and our players are Jason Rennie, Christopher Carbo, Taylor Marr, Megan Wells, Ben Birmingham, Julie Measley Grossman, Mark Tracy, Caitlin McCormick, Laura Covault, Elizabeth Juvenal, Elise Ashton, Dave Demke, and I'm Mary Carrick. We'd like to give a special shout out today also to Emily Redman Hall for the musical arrangements and to Emily and Laura for their musical direction. The Tempest was first published in the first folio of 1623. Profound on so many levels, perhaps the culmination of Shakespeare's works. Through contemporary lenses, we usually look at The Tempest as Shakespeare's farewell to the theater, revisiting the themes of redemption of the father through the daughter, here also, redemption and forgiveness of the father through the son. Prospero is busy in the pursuit of the love of knowledge, too busy to notice that the plot against him by his brother. The baser characters, Caliban and the clowns, they're too busy in the carnal world to see the bigger moral picture. The goddesses show us the feminine intelligence, inspiration for the motherless Miranda. Lost and found, utopian ideals, survival, forgiveness, freedom, redemption, all tied up in book, Shakespeare's text. Read along, kiss the book, however you wish. Sit back in your familiar easy chair and enjoy William Shakespeare's The Tempest.
Act 1, Scene 1. Aboard a ship in the Mediterranean Sea, a violent storm rages. Enter a shipmaster and a bosun.
Bosun!
Dear master, what cheer?
Oh, good. Speak to the mariners. Fall to ye yearly, or we run ourselves aground. Bestir, bestir!
Hey, my hearts, cheerly, my hearts! Yar, yar! Take in the topsail, tend to the master's whistle, blow till thou burst thy wind, if room enough.
Good bosun, have care, where's the master? Play the men!
I pray now, keep low.
Where's the master, bosun?
Do you not hear him? You mar our labor. Keep your cabins. You do assist the storm.
Nay, good, be patient.
And the sea is hence. Who cares these roars for the name of the king? Cabin, silence, trouble us not.
Good, yet remember whom thou hast aboard.
None that I more love than myself. You are a counselor. If you can command these elements to silence and work the peace of the present, we will not hand a rope more. Use your authority. If you cannot, give thanks you have lived so long, and make yourself ready in your cabin for the mischance of the hour, if it so hap. Cheerly, good hearts, out of our way, I say.
I have great comfort from this fellow. Methinks he hath no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is perfect gallows. Stand fast, good face, to his hanging. Make the rope of his destiny our cable, for our own doth little advantage. If he be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable.
Down with the topmast. Yar, lower. Bring her to try with the main course.
Oh, gods of this great vast, rebuke these surges within.
A plague upon this howling. They are louder than the weather or our office. Yet again, what do you hear? Shall we give o'er and drown? Have you a mind to sink?
Oh, pox in your throat, you bawling, blasphemous, incharitable dog!
Work you then.
Oh, hang, cur! Hang, you horse and insolent noisemaker! We are less afraid to be drowned than thou art!
I'll warrant him for drowning, though the ship were no stronger than a nutshell and as leaky as an unstaunched wench.
Lay her a hold! A hold! Set her 2 courses! Off to sea again! Lay her off!
All lost! To prayers! All lost!
What? Must our mouths be cold?
The king and prince of prayers. Let's assist them, for our case is as theirs.
I am out of patience.
We are merely cheated of our lives by drunkards! This ride-chopped rascal! Would thou mightst lie drowning the washing of end tides!
He'll be hanged yet, though every drop of water swear against it and gapeth wide to glut him.
Mercy on us!
Farewell, my wife!
we split.
Farewell!
We're split.
Farewell!
Let's all sink with the king!
Let's take leave of them.
Now would I give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren ground, long heath, brown furs, anything. The wills above be done, but I would fain die a dry death.
Act 1, Scene 2. An uninhabited sea island. Before Prospero's crude home. Enter Prospero and Miranda.
If by your art, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down sinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the welkin's cheek, dashes the fire out. I have suffered for those I saw suffer. A brave vessel who had, no doubt, some noble creatures in her, dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should be the good ships that will have swallowed and the frightened souls within her.
Be collected, no more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done.
Oh, woeful day!
No harm. I have done nothing but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, nor that I am more better than Prospero, master of a full poor cell, and thy no greater father.
Were to know did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I should inform thee, father. Lend thy hand and pluck my magic garment from me. Lie there, my art. Wipe thou thine eyes. Have comfort. The direful spectacle of the rack, which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee, I have with such provision in mine art so safely ordered that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as an hair, betid to any creature in the vessel which thou heardst cry, which thou sawest sink. Sit down, for thou must now know farther.
You have oft began to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour is now come. The very minute bid thee ope thine ear. Obey, and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not out 3 years old.
Certainly, sir, I can.
By what? By any other house or person? Of anything the image tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance.
'Tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance, that remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that attended me?
Thou hast, and more, Miranda. But how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark backward and abysm of time? If thou rememberest aught, ere thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayest.
but that I do not.
12 years since, Miranda. 12 years since. Thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power.
Sir, are you not my father?
Thy mother was a piece of virtue, and she said thou wast my daughter. And thy father was Duke of Milan, and his only heir and a princess no worse issued.
Oh, the heavens! What foul play had we that we came from hence? Or blessed was it we did?
Both, my girl. By foul play, as thou sayest, were we heaved thence, but blessedly holp hither.
My heart bleeds to think o' the teen I have turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Please you further?
My brother and thy uncle called Antonio, I pray thee mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious. He whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my state, as at that time through all the signories it was the first, and Prospero the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity, and for the liberal arts without a parallel. Those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Thy false uncle, dost thou attend me?
Sir, most heedfully.
Being once perfected how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance, and who to trash for overtopping, who created the creatures that were mine, I say, or changed them, or else new formed them, having both the key of officer and office, set all hearts in the state to what tune pleased his ear, that now he was the ivy which had hid my princely trunk and sucked my verdure out on't. Thou attend'st not.
Oh, good sir, I do.
I pray thee, mark me. I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind with that which, but by being so retired, o'erprized all popular rate, in my false brother awaked an evil nature, and my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary as great as my trust was, which had indeed no limit, a confidence sans bound. He being thus lorded, not only with what my revenue yielded, but what my power might else exact, like one who, having into truth by telling of it, made such a sinner of his memory to credit his own life, he did believe he was indeed the duke, out of the substitution and executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative. Hence his ambition growing. Dost thou hear?
Your tale, sir, could cure deafness.
To have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for, he needs will be absolute Milan. Me, poor man, my library was dukedom large enough. Of temporal royalties he thinks me now incapable. Confederates, so dry he was for sway, with a king in Naples to give him annual tribute, do him homage, subject his coronet to his crown, and bend the dukedom, yet unbowed, alas, poor Milan, to most ignoble stooping.
Oh, the heavens!
Mark his condition and the event. Then tell me if this might be a brother.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons.
Now the condition. This king of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkens my brother's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the premises of homage, and I know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Milan with all the honours on my brother. Whereon a treacherous army levied. One midnight fated to the purpose did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and in the dead of darkness the ministers for the purpose hurried thence me and thy crying self.
Alack, for pity! I, not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it over again. It is a hint that rings mine eyes to it.
Hear a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business which now's upon us, without the which this story were most important.
Wherefore did they not that hour destroy us?
Well demanded, wench. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not. So dear the love my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody on the business, but with colours fair painted their foul ends. In few they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a butt, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively have quit it. There they hoist us to cry to the sea that roared to us, to side of the winds, whose pity, sighing back again, did us but loving wrong.
Alack, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, a cherubin thou wast that did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven. When I have decked the sea with drops full salt, under my burden groaned, which raised in me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what would ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine. Now some food we had, and some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan Gonzalo, out of his charity, who being then appointed master of this design, did give us, with rich garments, linen, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steaded much. So, of his gentleness, knowing I loved my books, he furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Would I might be ever see that man.
Now I arise. Sit still, and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here, in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princes can, that have more time for vainer hours, and tutors not so careful.
Thank you for it. And now I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating in my mind, your reason for raising this sea storm.
No, thus far forth. By accident most strange, bountiful fortune, now, my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore. And by my prescience I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, if now I court not, but omit, my fortunes will ever after droop. Here, seize more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Come away, servant, come. I am ready now. Approach, my Ariel, come.
All hail, great master. Grave sir, hail. I come to answer thy best pleasure, be to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds, to thy strong bidding task, Ariel and all his quality.
Hast thou spirit performed to the point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article. I boarded the king's ship, now on the beak, now in the waist, the deck. In every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometimes I divide and burn in many places. On the topmast, the yards, and the bowsprit I would flame distinctly, then meet and join. By Jove's lightning, the precursors of the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and sight outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring, the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble, yea, his dread trident shake.
My brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant that this coil would not infect his reason?
Not a soul, but felt a fever of the mad and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged into the brine and quit the vessel, then all afire with me. The king's son, Ferdinand, with hair upstaring, then like reeds, not like hair, was the first man that leapt, cried, "Hell is empty, and all the devils are here."
Why, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh shore?
Close by, my master.
But are they, Ariel, safe?
Not a hair perished. On their sustaining garments, not a blemish, but fresher than before. And as thou badest me, in troops I have dispersed them about the isle. The king's son I have landed by himself, whom I left cooling in the air with sighs of an odd angle of the isle, and sitting, his arms in this sad knot.
Of the king's ship, the mariners say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely in harbor is the king's ship, in deep nook where once thou calledst me at midnight to fetch dew from the still vexed Bermuths. There she's hid. The mariners all under hatches stowed, who, with a charm joined to their suffered labor, I have left asleep. And for the rest of the fleet, which I dispersed, they have met again, and upon the Mediterranean float bound sadly home for Naples. Supposing that they saw the king's ship wracked and his great person perish.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed. But there's more work. What is the time of the day?
Past the mint season.
At least 2 glasses. The time twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me.
How now? Moody, what is't thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time be out, no more.
I pray thee, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made no mistakings, served without grudge or grumblings. Thou did promise to bate me a full year.
Dost thou forget what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost, and think'st it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it is baked with frost.
I do not, sir.
Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, sir.
Thou hast. Where was she born? Speak, tell me.
Sir, in Algiers.
Oh, was she so? I must once in a month recount what thou hast been, which thou forgett'st. This damned witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible to enter human hearing, from Algiers, thou knowest, was banished. For one thing she did, they would not take her life. Is not this true?
Aye, sir.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportest thyself, was then her servant. And for thou wast a spirit too delicate to act her earthy and abhorred commands, refusing her grand hests, she did confine thee, by help of her more potent ministers, and in her most unmitigable rage, into a cloven pine, within which rift imprisoned thou didst painfully remain 12 years. Within which space she died, and left thee there, where thou didst vent thy groans as fast as mill wheels strike. Then was this island, save for the son that she did litter here, a freckled whelp, hag-born, not honoured with a human shape.
Yes, Caliban, her son.
Dull thing, I say so. He, that Caliban whom now I keep in service, thou best knowest what torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make wolves howl, and penetrate the breasts of ever-angry bears. It was a torment to lay upon the damned, which Sycorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak and peg thee in his nutty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, master. I will be correspondent to thy command and do my spiriting gently.
Do so. And after 2 days I will discharge thee.
That's my noble master. What shall I do? Say, what shall I do?
Go, make thyself like a nymph of the sea. Be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go, take this shape and hither come it. Go hence with diligence. Awake, dear heart, awake. Thou hast slept well. Awake.
The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
Shake it off. Come on. We'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us kind answer.
'Tis a villain, sir. I do not love to look on.
But as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. What ho, slave, Caliban! Thou earth, thou speak!
There's wood enough within.
Come forth, I say. There's other business for thee. Come, thou tortoise, when? Fine apparition, my quaint Ariel, hark in thine ear.
My lord, it shall be done.
Thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself upon thy wicked dam, come forth!
As wicked do as ere my mother brushed with raven's feather from wholesome fen, drop on you both. The southwest blow on you and blister you all over.
For this, be sure, tonight thou shalt have cramps, side stitches that shall pen thy breath up. Urchins shall forth at fast of night, that they may work all exercise on thee. Thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than bees that made 'em.
I must eat my dinner. This island's mine by Sycorax, my mother, which thou takest from me. When thou camest first, thou strokest me and made much of me, wouldst give me water with berries in it and teach me how to name the bigger light and how the less that burn by day and night. And then I loved thee and showed thee all the qualities of the isle, the fresh springs and brine pits, a barren place and fertile. Cursed be I that did so! All the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, bats, light on you! For I am all the subjects that you have, which first was mine own king, and here you stay me in this hard rock, whilst you do keep from me the rest of the island.
Thou most lying slave, whom stripes may move, not kindness. I have used thee, filth as thou art, with humane care, and lodged thee in mine own cell till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Oh, would that had been done! Thou didst prevent me. I had peopled else this isle with Calibans.
Abhorred slave, which any prince of goodness will not take, being capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other, when thou didst not, savage, known thine own meaning, when wouldst gabble like a thing most brutish. I endowed thy purposes with words that made them known. But thy vile race, though thou didst learn, had that in it which good natures could not abide to be with. Therefore wast thou deservedly confined into this rock, who has deserved more than a prison.
You taught me language, and my profit on't is I know how to curse. The Red Plague rid you for learning me your language.
Hagseed hence. Fetch us in fuel, and be quick, thou art best, to answer other business. Oh, shucks, thou malice! If thou neglect'st or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No, Brady. I must obey. His art is of such power it would control my damned god Setebos and make a vassal of him.
So, slave, hence!
Come unto these yellow sands and then take hands. Curtsied when you have and kissed the wild waves whist. Footed feebly here and there, and sweet swites the burden bear. Hark, hark, bow wow, the watchdogs bark. Bow wow, bow wow, bow wow, hark, hark, I hear the strain of strutting chanticleer. Cry cock-a-doodle doo.
Where should this music be? In the air or the earth? It sounds no more, and sure it waits upon some god of the island, sitting on a bank weeping again, king my father's wreck. This music crept by me upon the waters, allaying both their fury and my passion with its sweet air. Thence I have followed it, or it hath drawn me rather, but 'tis gone. No, it begins again.
Full fathom 5 thy father lies, of his bones a coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade, but suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Seen him sourly ring his bell. Hark, now I hear them ding dong bell.
The ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business, nor no sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
The fringed curtains of thine eye advance, and say what thou seest yond.
Is it a spirit? Lord, how it looks about! Believe me, sir, it carries a brave form, but 'tis a spirit.
No, wench, it eats and sleeps, and hath such senses as we have such. This gaunt which thou seest was in the rack, but he's something stained with grief. That's beauty's canker. Thou mightst call him a goodly person. He hath lost his fellows and strays about to find them.
I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I never saw so noble.
It goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit! Fine spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure. The goddess on whom these airs attend, vouchsafe my prayer maid know if you remain upon this island, and that you will some good instruction give how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is, oh, you wonder if you be maid or no?
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
My language, heavens, I am the best of them that speak this speech where I but were 'tis spoken.
How? The best? What wert thou if the King of Naples heard thee?
A single thing, as I am now, the wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, that he does I weep. Myself am Naples, who with mine eyes, and ever since at ebb, beheld the king my father wrecked.
Lack for mercy.
Yes, faith, all his lords, the Duke of Milan and his brave son, being twain.
The Duke of Milan and his more braver daughter could control thee if now 'twere fit to do it. At the first sight they have changed eyes. Oh, delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir. I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word.
Why speaks my father so ungently? This is the third man that e'er I saw, the first that e'er I sighed for. Pity move my father to be inclined my way.
Oh, if a virgin and your affection not go forth, I'll make you the Queen of Naples.
Soft, sir. One word more. They are both in either's powers. But this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. One word more. I charge thee that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this island as a spy to win it from me, the Lord on't.
No, as I am a man.
There's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. If the ill spirit have so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell with it.
Follow me. Or speak you not for him, he's a traitor. Come! I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, withered roots, and husks wherein the acorn cradled. Follow!
No, I will resist such entertainment till mine enemy has more power.
Oh, dear father, make not too rash a trial of him, for he's gentle and not fearful.
What? I say, my foot, my tutor. Put thy sword up, traitor, who makest a show but darest not strike. Thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. Come from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick, and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, father!
And hang not on my garments.
Sir, have pity, I'll be his surety.
Silence! One word more shall make me chide thee, if not hate thee. What? An advocate for an impostor? Hush! Thou thinkst there is no more such shapes as he, having seen but him and Caliban. Foolish wench, to the most of men this is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
My affections are then most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey. Thy nerves are in their infancy again and have no vigor in them.
So they are. My spirits, as in a dream, are all bound up. My father's loss, the weakness which I feel, the wrack of all my friends, nor this man's threats to whom I am subdued, are but light to me. Might I but through my prison once a day behold this maid. All corners else o'er the earth let liberty make use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
It works. Come on! Thou hast done well, fine Ariel. Follow me. Hark! What thou shalt do me.
Be of comfort. My father's of a better nature, sir, than he appears by speech. This is unwanted which now came from him.
Thou shalt be as free as mountain winds, but then exactly do all points of my command.
To the syllable.
Come, follow. Speak not for him.
Act 2, Scene 1, a secluded spot elsewhere on the island. Enter Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Gonzalo, Adrian, and Francisco.
Beseech you, sir, be merry. You have cause, so have we all, of joy, for our escape is much beyond our loss. Our hint of woe is common. Every day some sailor's wife, the masters of some merchant, and the merchant, have just our theme of woe. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation, few in millions can speak like us. Then wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace.
Oof, he receives comfort like cold porridge.
The visitor will not give him over so.
Look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. And by it'll strike.
Sir.
One tell.
When every grief is entertained that's offered, comes to the entertainer.
$1.
Dollar comes to him indeed. You have spoken truer than you purposed.
Well, you've taken it wiselier than I meant you should.
Therefore, my lord.
Oh, fie, what a spendthrift is he of his tongue.
I prithee, spare.
Well, I have done, but yet.
He will be talking.
Which of he or Adrian, for a good wager, first begins to crow?
Oh, the old cock.
The cockerel.
Done. Wager?
Oh, after.
Match.
Oh, this island seems to be desert.
So you're paid.
Uninhabitable and almost inaccessible.
Yet?
He could not miss.
It must needs be of subtle, tender, and delicate temperance.
Oh, Temperance was a delicate wench.
Aye, and a subtle, as he most learnedly delivered.
The air breathes upon us here most sweetly.
As if it had lungs, and rotten ones.
Or as 'twere perfumed by a fen.
Here is everything advantageous to life.
True, save means to live.
Yeah, of that there's none, or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks. How green.
The ground indeed is tawny.
Look, and I have green in it.
He misses not much.
No, he doth but mistake the truth totally.
But the rarity of it is, which is indeed almost beyond credit,
As many vouched rarities are.
that our garments, being as they were, drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and gloss, being rather new dyed than stained with salt water.
If but one of his pockets could speak, would it not say he lies?
Or very falsely pocket up his report.
Methinks our garments are now as fresh as when we put them on first in Africa, at the marriage of the king's fair daughter Claribel to the king of Tunis.
Aye, 'twas a sweet marriage, and we prosper well in our return.
Was never graced before with such a paragon to their queen.
Not since Widow Dido's time.
Widow? A pox of that. How came that widow in? Widow Dido?
What if he had said widower Aeneas too? Good Lord, how you take it.
Widow Dido, said you. You make me study of that. She was of Carthage, not of Tunis.
Oh, this Tunis, sir, was Carthage.
Carthage?
I assure you, Carthage.
His word is more than the miraculous harp.
He hath raised the wall and houses too.
What impossible matter will he make easy next?
Oh, I think he will carry this island home in his pocket and give it his son for an apple.
And sowing the kernels of it in the sea, bring forth more islands.
Why,
in good time.
sir, We were talking that our garments seem as fresh now as when we were at Tunis, at the marriage of your daughter, who is now queen.
And the rarest that e'er came there.
Oh, bait, I beseech you. Widow Dido.
Oh, Widow Dido? Aye, Widow Dido.
Is not, sir, my doublet as fresh as the first day I wore it? I mean, in a sort.
That sort was well fished for.
When I wear it at your daughter's marriage.
You cram these words into mine ears against the stomach of my sense. Would I had never married my daughter there, for coming thence, my son is lost, and in my rate she too, who is so far from Italy removed, I ne'er shall see her again. Oh, thou mine heir, of Naples and Milan, what strange fish hath made his meal on thee?
Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him and ride upon their backs. He trod the water whose enmity he flung aside and breasted the surge most swollen that met him. His bold head above the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arms in lusty stroke to the shore that o'er his wave-worn basis bode. As stooped to relieve him, I not doubt he came alive to the land.
No, he's gone.
Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss. That would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to an African, where she at least is banished from your eye, who hath cause to wet the grief on't.
Prithee, peace.
You were kneeled to and importuned otherwise by all of us, and the fair soul herself weighed between loathness and obedience at which end of the beam should bow. We have lost your son, I fear, forever. Milan and Naples have more widows in them of this business making than we can bring men to comfort them. The fault's your own.
So is the dearest of the loss.
My Lord Sebastian, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness and time to speak it. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well, very well.
And most chargingly.
It is foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather?
Very foul.
Had I plantation of this isle, my lord?
He'd sow it with nettle seed.
Docks or mallows.
And were the king on't, what would I do?
Escape being drunk for want of wine.
In the Commonwealth, I would by contraries execute all things, for no kind of traffic would I admit, no name of magistrate, letters should not be known, riches, poverty, and use of service, none, contract, succession, born, bound of land, tilth, vineyard, none, no use of metal, corn, or wine, or oil, no occupation, all men, idle, all, and women too, but innocent and pure, no sovereignty.
Oh, yet he would be king on't.
The latter end of his commonwealth forgets the beginning.
Ah.
All things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavor. Treason, felony, sword, pike, knife, gun, or need of any engine would I not have, but nature should bring forth of its own kind all foison, all abundance, to feed my innocent people.
No marrying among the subjects?
None, man, all idle, whores and knaves.
I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age.
Save his majesty.
Long live Gonzalo.
Do you mark me, sir?
Prithee, no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
I do well believe, your highness, and did it to minister occasion to these gentlemen who are of such sensible and nimble lungs that they always use to laugh. at nothing.
'Twas you we laughed at.
Who in this kind of merry fooling am nothing to you. So you may continue and laugh at nothing still.
What a blow was there given!
Headed out, had fallen headlong.
You are gentlemen of brave metal. You would lift the moon out of her sphere if she would continue in it 5 weeks without changing.
We would so, and then go a bat fouling.
Nay, good my lord, be not angry.
No, I warrant you. I will not adventure my discretion so weakly. Well, you left me asleep. I am very heavy.
Go sleep and hear us.
What, all so soon asleep? I wish mine eyes would with themselves shut up my thoughts. I find they are inclined to do so.
Well, please you, sir, do not omit the heavy offer of it. It seldom visits sorrow, and when it doth, is a comforter.
We too, my lord, will guard your person while you take your rest and watch your safety.
Thank you. Wondrous, heavy.
What a strange drowsiness possesses them.
It is the quality of the climate.
Why doth it not then our eyelids sink? I find not myself disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fell together all as by consent. They dropped as by a thunderstroke. What might, worthy Sebastian, what might... no more. And yet methinks I see it in thy face, what thou shouldst be. The occasion speaks thee, and my strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head.
What, art thou waking?
Do you not hear me speak?
Well, I do, and surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakst out of thy sleep. What is it thou didst say? This is a strange repose, to be asleep with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep.
Noble Sebastian, thou lett'st thy fortune sleep, die rather, wink'st whilst thou art waking.
Oh, thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy snores.
I am more serious than my custom. You must be so too, if heed me, which to do trebles the o'er.
Well, I'm standing water.
I'll teach you how to flow.
Do so. To ebb, hereditary sloth instructs me.
Oh, if you but knew how you the purpose cherish, whilst thus you mock it, how in stripping it you more invest it. Ebbing men indeed more often do so near the bottom run by their own fear or sloth.
Well, prithee say on. Setting of thine eye and cheek proclaim a matter from thee, and a birth indeed which throws thee much to yield.
Thus, sir, although this lord of weak remembrance, this who shall be of as little memory when he is earthed, hath here almost persuaded, for he's a spirit of persuasion, only professes to persuade, the king, his son's alive. 'Tis as impossible that he's undrowned as he that sleeps here swims.
I have no hope that he's undrowned.
Oh, out of that no hope, what great hope have you? No hope, that way is another way so high a hope that even ambition cannot pierce a wink beyond, but doubt discovery there. Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Then tell me, who's the next heir of Naples?
Claribel.
She that is queen of Tunis. She that dwells 10 leagues beyond man's life. She that from Naples can have no note, unless the sun were post. The man in the moon's too slow, till newborn chins be rough and razorable. She that from whom we all were sea-swallowed, though some cast again, and by that destiny to perform an act whereof what's past is prologue. what to come in yours and my discharge.
What stuff is this? How say you? It is true, my brother's daughter's queen of Tunis, so is she heir of Naples, and twixt which regions there is some space.
A space whose every cubit seems to cry out, how shall that Claribel measure us back to Naples? Keep in Tunis and let Sebastian wake. Say this were death that now hath seized them. Why, they were no worse than now they are. There be that can rule Naples as well as he that sleeps. Lords that can prate as amply and unnecessarily as this Gonzalo. I myself could make a chuff of his deep chat. Oh, that you bore the mind that I do. What a sleep were this for your advancement. Do you understand me?
Methinks I do.
And how does your content tender your own good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your brother Prospero.
True. And look how well my garments sit upon me, much feeter than before. My brother's servants were then my fellows. Now they are my men.
But for your conscience?
Aye, sir, where lies that? If 'twere archived, 'twould put me to my slipper, but I feel not this deity in my bosom. 20 consciences that stand twixt me and Millen, candied be they, and melt ere they molest. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies upon. If he were that which now he's like, that's dead, whom I, with this obedient steel, 3 inches of it can lay to bed forever. Whiles you, doing thus, to the perpetual wink for I might put this ancient morsel, this Sir Prudence, who should not abrade our course. For all the rest, they'll take suggestion as a cat laps milk. They'll tell the clock to any business that we say befits the hour.
Thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedent. As thou gotst Millen, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword, and one stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Draw together. And when I rear my hand, do you the like to fall it on Gonzalo.
Ah! One word.
My master through his art foresees the danger that you, his friend, are in, and sends me forth, for else his project dies to keep them living. While you hear to snoring lie, open-eyed conspiracy, his time doth take. If of life you take a care, shake off slumber and beware. Awake, awake.
Then let us both be sudden.
Now, good angels, preserve the king!
What? Ho, wake! Why are you drawn? Wherefore this ghastly looking?
What's the matter?
Whilst we stood here securing your repose, even now we heard a hollow burst of bellowing, like bulls. Yes. Oh, no, lions, like lions. Did not wake you? It struck mine ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, 'twas a din to fright a monster's ear, to make an earthquake. Sure, it was the roar of a whole herd of lions.
Lions.
Heard you this, Gonzalo?
Upon mine honor, sir, I heard a humming, and that a strange one, too, which did awake me. I shaked you, sir, and cried, as mine eyes opened. I saw their weapons drawn. There was a noise, that's verily. 'Tis best we stand upon our guard, or that we quit this place. Let's draw our weapons.
Lead us off this ground and let's make further search for my poor son.
Heavens keep him from these beasts, for he is sure in the island.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lord shall know what I have done. So, king, go safely on to seek thy son.
Act 2, Scene 2. Another barren part of the island. A storm threatens. Enter Caliban with a burden of wood.
All the infections that the sun sucks up from bogs, fens, flats, on Prosper fall and make him by inch-mill a disease. His spirits hear me, and yet I needs must curse. But they'll nor pinch, fright me with urchin shows, pitch me in the mire, nor lead me like a firebrand in the dark out of my way, unless he bid 'em. But for every trifle they set upon me, sometimes like apes that mow and chatter at me, and after bite me, then like hedgehogs which lie tumbling in my barefoot way, and mount their pricks at my footfall. Sometimes am I all wombed with adders, who with cloven tongues do hiss into madness. Lo, now, lo! Here comes a spirit of his, and to torment me for bringing wood in slowly, I'll lie flat. Perchance he will not mind me.
Here's neither bush nor shrub to bear off any weather at all. And another storm brewing. I can hear it sing in the wind. Yon same black cloud, yon huge one, looks like a foul bombard that would shed his liquor. If it should thunder as it did before, I know not where to hide my head. Yon same cloud cannot choose but fall by pailfuls. What have we here? A man? Or a fish, dead or alive? A fish. Smells like a fish. A very ancient fish-like smell, a kind of not of the newest porridge on. A strange fish. Were I in England now, as once I was, and had but this fish painted, not a holiday fool there would be but give a piece of silver. There would this monster make a man. Any strange beast there makes a man. When they will not give a doit to relieve a lame beggar, they will lay out 10 to see a dead Indian. Legged like a man, and his fins like arms. Warm on my trot. I do now let loose my opinion, holds it longer. This is no fish, but an islander that hath lately suffered by a thunderbolt. Alas, the storm has come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. There is no shelter hereabout. Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. I will here shroud till the dregs of the storm be past.
I shall no more to sea, here shall I die ashore. This is a very scurvy tune to sing at a man's funeral. Well, here's my comfort. The master, the swabber, the boatswain, and I, the gunner and his mate, loved Mull, Megan, Marion, and Marjorie, but none of us cared for Kate. For she had a tongue with a tang, would cry to a sailor, go hang. She loved not the savor of tar nor of pitch, yet a tailor might scratch her where'er she did itch. So to sea, boys, and let her go hang. This is a scurvy tune, too. But here's my comfort.
Oh, do not torment me. Oh!
What's the matter? Have we devils here? Do you put tricks upon us with savages and men of end? Huh? I have not 'scaped drowning to be afeard now of your forelegs. For it hath been said, as proper a man as ever went on 4 legs cannot make him give ground. And it shall be said so again while Stefano breathes his nostrils.
The spirit torments me. Oh!
This is some monster of the isle with 4 legs
who hath got, as I take it, an ague. Where the devil should he learn our language? I will give him some relief, if it be but for that. If I can recover him and keep him tame and get him to Naples with him, he's a present for any emperor that ever trod on neat's leather.
Do not torment me, prithee. I'll bring my wood home faster.
He's in his fit now, and does not talk after the wisest. He shall taste of my bottle. If he hath never drunk wine before, it will go near to remove his fit. If I can recover him and keep him tame, I will not take too much for him. He shall pay for him that hath him, and that soundly.
Thou dost me yet but little hurt. Thou wilt anon. I know it by thy trembling. Now prosper works upon me.
Come on your ways. Open your mouth. Here's that which will give language to you, cat. Open your mouth. This will shake your shaking, I can tell you, and that soundly. Oh, you cannot tell who's your friend. Open your chaps again.
I should know that voice. It should be, but he is drowned, and these are devils. Oh, defend me!
Oh. 4 legs and 2 voices. A most delicate monster. His forward voice now is to speak well of his friend. His backward voice is to utter foul speeches and to detract. If all the wine in my bottle will recover him, I will help his ague. Come in. I will pour some in thy other mouth.
Stefano!
Doth thy other mouth call me? Oh, mercy, mercy, this is a devil and no monster. I will leave him. I have no long spoon.
Stefano! If thou be a Stefano, touch me and speak to me, for I am Trinculo. Be not afeared. Thy good friend Trinculo.
If thou beest Trinculo, come forth. I'll pull thee by the lesser legs. If any be Trinculo's legs, these be they. Thou art very Trinculo indeed. How camest thou to be the siege of thy mooncalf? Can he vent Trinculus?
I took him to be killed with the thunderstroke. But art thou now drowned, Stefano? I hope now thou art not drowned. Is the storm overblown? I hid me under the dead mooncalf's gabardine for fear of the storm. And art thou living, Stefano? Oh, Stefano, 2 Neapolitans escaped.
Prithee, do not turn me about. My stomach is not constant.
It be not sprites. That's a brave god and bears celestial liquor. I will kneel to him.
How didst thou escape? How camest thou hither? Swear by this bottle how thou camest hither. I escaped on a butt of sack, which the sailors heaved overboard. By this bottle, which I made of the bark of a tree with mine own hands, since I was cast ashore.
I'll swear upon that bottle to be thy true subject, for the liquor is not earthly.
Here, swear then how thou escapedst.
Oh, sure, man, like a duck. I can swim like a duck, I'll be sworn.
Here, kiss the book. Though thou canst swim like a duck, thou art made like a goose.
Oh, Stefano, hast thou any more of it?
The whole butt, man. My cellar is in a rock by the seaside where my wine is hid. How now, mooncalf? How does thine ague?
Hast thou not dropped from heaven?
Out to the moon, I do assure thee. I was the man in the moon when time was.
I have seen thee in her, and I do adore thee. Oh, my mistress showed me thee, and thy dog, and thy bush.
Come, swear to that. Kiss the book, I will furnish it anon with new contents. Swear!
This good light, this is a very shallow monster. I have feared of him, a very weak monster, a man in the moon, a most poor credulous monster, well drawn monster in good sooth.
I'll show thee every fertile inch of the island, and I will kiss thy foot. I prithee, be my God.
By this light, a most perfidious and drunken monster. When God's asleep, he'll rob his bottle.
I'll kiss thy foot. I'll swear myself thy subject.
Come on then, down and swear.
I shall laugh myself to death at this puppy-headed monster, a most scurvy monster. I could find it in my heart to beat him.
Come, kiss.
But that poor monster's in drink, an abominable monster.
I'll show thee the best springs. I'll pluck thee berries. I'll fish for thee and get thee wood enough. A plague upon that tyrant that I serve. I'll bear him no more sticks, but follow thee, thou wondrous man.
A most ridiculous monster to make a wonder of a poor drunkard.
I prithee, let me bring thee where the crabs grow, and I with my long nails will dig thee pignuts, show thee a jay's nest, and instruct thee how to snare the nimble marmoset. I'll bring thee to clustering filbers, and sometimes I'll get the young scammels from the rock. Wilt thou go with me?
I prithee now, lead the way without any more talking. Tranquillo, the king and all our company else being drowned, we will inherit here. Here, bear my bottle. Hello, Tranquillo, we'll fill him by and by again.
Farewell, master, farewell, farewell.
A howling monster! Drunken monster!
No more dams I'll make for fish, nor fetch in firing at requiring, nor scrape turring, nor wash dish. Ban, Calaban has a new master, get a new man. Freedom! High day, freedom, freedom! High day, freedom!
Oh, brave monster, lead the way.
Act 3, Scene 1. Before Prospero Cell. Enter Ferdinand, bearing a log.
There be some sports are painful, and their labor delight in them sets off. Some kinds of baseness are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. This my mean task would be as heavy to me as odious, but the sweet mistress which I serve quickens what's dead and makes my labors pleasures. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her father's crabbed, and he's composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of these logs and pile them up upon a sore injunction. My sweet mistress weeps when she sees me, and says such baseness had never like executor. I forget, but these sweet thoughts do even refresh my labors, most busiest when I do it.
Alas, now pray you, work not so hard. I would the lightning had burnt up those logs that you were enjoyed to pile. Pray, set it down and rest you. When this burns, 'twill weep for having wearied you. My father is hard at study. Pray now rest you. He's safe for these 3 hours.
Oh, most dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
If you'll sit down, I'll bear the logs the while. Pray, give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
No, precious creature, I'd rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor go while I sit lazy by.
It would become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease, for my goodwill is to it and yours is against.
Poor one, thou art infected, this visitation shows it.
look wearily.
No, noble mistress. 'Tis fresh morning with me when you are by at night. I do beseech you, chiefly that I might set it in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda. Oh, my father, I've broken your hest to say so.
Admired Miranda. Indeed, the top of admiration, worth what's dearest to the world. Full many a lady I have eyed with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. For several virtues I have liked several women, never any with so full soul, but some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed and put it to the foil. But you, oh you, so perfect and so peerless, are created of every creature's best.
I do not know one of my sex, no woman's face remembered, save from my glass mine own. Nor have I seen more than I may call men than you, good friend, and my dear father. How creatures are abroad I am skilless of, but by my modesty, the jewel in my dower, I would not wish any companion in the world but you. Nor can imagination form a shape besides yourself to like of. But I prattle something too wildly, and my father's precepts I therein do forget.
I am in my condition a Prince Miranda. I do think a king. I would not so, and would no more endure this wooden slavery than to suffer the flesh fly blow of my mouth. Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you did my heart fly to your service. There resides to make me slave to it, and for your sake I am this patient logman.
Do you love me?
Oh, heaven, oh, earth! Bear witness to this sound and crown what I profess with kind event, if I speak true, if hollowly invert what best is boded in me to mischief. I, beyond all limit of what else in the world, do love, prize, honor you.
I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Fair encounter of two most rare affections. Heavens rain grace on that which breeds between them.
Wherefore weep you?
At mine unworthiness that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and all the more it seeks to hide itself, the bigger it shows. Hence, bashful cunning and prompt me, plain and holy innocence. I am your wife if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your maid. To be your fellow you may deny me, but I'll be your servant, whether you will or no.
My mistress, dearest, and I, thus humble ever.
My husband, then?
I, with a heart as willing as bondage ere of freedom. Here's my hand.
And mine, with my heart in it. And now, farewell, till half an hour's hence.
1,000,000.
So glad of this as they I cannot be, who are surprised withal. But my rejoicing at nothing can be more. I'll to my book, for yet ere supper time must I perform much business appertaining.
Act 3, Scene 2. Stefano's cave by the shore. Enter Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo.
Tell not me. When the butt is out, we will drink water, not a drop before. Therefore bear up in boredom. Servant monster, drink to me.
Servant monster, the folly of this island. They say there's but 5 upon this isle, and we are 3 of them. If the other 2 be brained like us, the state totters.
Drink, servant monster, when I bid thee. Thy eyes are almost set in thy head.
Where should they be set else? He were a brave monster indeed if they were set in his tail.
My man monster hath drowned his tongue in sack. For my part, the sea cannot drown me. I swam ere I could recover the shore 35 leagues off and on by this light. Thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard.
Your lieutenant, if you list. He's no standard.
Will not run, Monsieur Monster.
nor go neither, but you'll lie like dogs, and yet say nothing neither.
Mooncalf, speak once in thy life, if thou be'st a good mooncalf.
Oh, how does mine honor? Let me lick thy shoe. I'll not serve him. He's not valiant.
Thou liest, most ignorant monster. I am in case to justle up constable. Why art thou debauched fish, thou? Was there ever a man, a coward that hath drunk so much sack as I have today? Wilt thou tell a monstrous lie, being but half a fish and half a monster?
Lo, how he mocks me! Wilt thou let him, my lord?
Lord, quoth he, that a monster should be such a natural.
Oh, lo again! Bite him to death, I prithee.
Trinculo, keep a good tongue in your head. If you prove a mutineer, the next tree. The poor monster's my subject, and he shall not suffer indignity.
I thank my noble lord. Wilt thou be pleased to hearken once again to the suit I made to thee?
Marry, I will. Kneel and repeat it. I will stand, and so shall Trinculo.
As I told thee before, I am subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer, but why his cunning hath cheated me of the island.
Thou liest.
Thou liest, thou jesting monkey, thou! I would my valiant master would destroy thee. I do not lie.
Trinculo, if you trouble him any more in his tail, by this hand, I will supplant some of your teeth.
Why, I said nothing.
Mum, then, and no more. Proceed.
I say, by sorcery, he got this item. From me, he got it. If thy greatness will, avenge it on him, for I know thou darest, but this thing dare not.
That's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and I'll serve thee.
How now shall this be compassed? Canst thou bring me to the party?
Oh, yea, my lord. I'll yield him thee asleep, where thou mayst knock a nail into his head.
Thou liest. Thou canst not.
What a pied ninny's this? Thou scurvy patch, I do beseech thy greatness, give him blows and take his bottle from him. When that's gone, he shall drink naught but brine, for I'll not show him where the quick freshes are.
Trinculo, run into no further danger. Interrupt the monster one word further, and by this hand I'll turn thy mercy out of doors and make a stockfish of thee.
Why, what did I? I did nothing. I'll go further off.
Didst thou not say he lied?
Thou liest.
Do I so? Take thou that. As you like it, give me the lie another time.
I did not give the lie. Out of your wits and hearing too? A pox on your bottle. This can sack and drinking too. A murrain on your monster, and the devil take your fingers.
Now forward with your tale. Prithee, stand further off.
Beat him enough. After a little time, I'll beat him too.
And farther. Come, proceed.
Why, as I told thee, 'tis a custom with him in the afternoon to sleep. There thou mayst brain him, having first seized his books, or with a log batter his skull, or punch him with a stake, or cut his weasand with thy knife. Remember first to possess his books, for without them he's but a sot as I am. nor hath not one spirit to command. They all do hate him as rootedly as I. Burn but his books. He has brave utensils, for he calls them, which when he has a house, he'll deck withal, and that most deeply to consider is the beauty of his daughter. He himself calls her a nonpareil. Now, I never saw a woman, but only Sycorax, my dam, and she, but she, as far surpasseth Sycorax, as greatest does least.
Is it so brave a lass?
Oh, aye, Lord. She will become thy bed, I warrant, and bring thee forth brave brood.
Monster, I will kill this man. His daughter and I will be king and queen, save our graces, and Trinculo and thyself shall be viceroys. Dost thou like the plot, Trinculo?
Excellent.
Give me thy hand. I'm sorry I beat thee, but while thou livest, keep a good tongue in thy head.
Within this half hour will he be asleep. Wilt thou destroy him then?
Aye, upon my honor.
This I will tell my master.
Thou makest me merry. I am full of pleasure. Let us be jocund. Will you troll the catch you taught me but whileare?
At thy request, monster, I will do reason, any reason. Come on, Trinculo, let us sing. Flout 'em and cout 'em and scout 'em and flout 'em and thought is free.
Flout 'em and cout 'em and flout 'em and scout 'em. Flot is free.
Is free.
That's not the tune.
What is this same?
This is the tune of our catch played by the picture of nobody.
If thou beest a man, show thyself in thy likeness. If thou beest a devil, take it as thou list.
Oh, forgive me my sins.
He that dies pays all debts. I defy thee. Mercy upon us.
Art thou afeard?
No, monster, not I.
Be not afeard. The isle is full of noises, sounds, and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twangling instruments will hum about mine ears, and sometimes voices that, if I then had waked after long sleep, will make me sleep again. And then, in dreaming, the clouds, methought, would open and show riches ready to drop upon me, that when I waked, I cried to dream again.
This will prove a brave kingdom to me, where I shall have my music for nothing.
When Prospero is destroyed.
That shall be by and by. I remember the story.
The sound is going away. Let's follow it and after do our work.
Lead, monster, we'll follow. Would I could see this taborer. He lays it on. Wilt come?
I'll follow Stefano.
Act 3, Scene 3. Another deserted part of the island. Enter Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Gonzalo, Adrian, and Francisco.
Our lake and I can go no further, sir. My old bones ache. Here's a maze trod indeed through forthrights and meanders by your patience. I needs must rest me.
Oh, Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest. Even here I will put off my hope and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is drowned. whom thus we stray to find, and the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go.
I am right glad that he's so out of hope. Do not, for one repulse, forgo the purpose that you resolve to effect.
The next advantage we will take throughly.
Let it be tonight. For now they are oppressed with travel. They will not nor cannot use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
Did I say tonight? No more.
What harmony is this? My good friends, hark.
Marvelous, sweet music.
Enter several strange shapes, bringing in a banquet, and dance about it with gentle actions of salutations.
Give us kind keepers, heavens. What are these?
A living drollery. Now I will believe there are unicorns, that in Arabia there is one tree, the phoenix throne, one phoenix at this hour reigning there.
I'll believe both, and what does else want credit? Come to me, and I'll be sworn it is true. Travelers ne'er did lie, though fools at home condemn them.
If in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, for certes these are people of the island, who, though they are of monstrous shape, yet note their manners are more gentle, kind than of our human generation, you shall find many, nay, almost any.
Honest Lord, thou hast said well. For some of you there present are worse than devils.
I cannot too much muse such shapes, such gesture, and such sound expressing, although they want the use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
Praise in departing.
They vanish strangely.
No matter, since they have left their viands behind, for we have stomachs. Well, please you taste of what is here.
Not I.
Faith, sir, you need not fear. When we were boys, who would believe that there were mountaineers dewlapped like bulls, whose throats had hanging at 'em wallets of flesh, or that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each putter out of 5 for 1 will bring us good warrant of.
I will stand to and feed, although my last no matter, since I feel the best is past. Brother, my lord, the Duke, stand to and do as we.
Enter Ariel, like a harpy, claps his wings upon the table, and with a quaint device, the banquet vanishes.
You are 3 men of sin, whom destiny that hath to instrument this lower world, and what is in't, the never surfeited sea hath cause to belch you up. And on this island, where man doth not inhabit, you, 'mongst men, being most unfit to live, I have made you mad. And even with such like valor, men hang and drown their proper selves. You fools, I and my fellows are ministers of fate. The elements of whom your swords are tempered may as well wound the loud winds, or with bemocked at stabs kill the still closing waters, as diminish one dowel that's in my plume. My fellow ministers are like invulnerable. If you could hurt, your swords are now too massy for your strengths and will not be uplifted. But remember, for that's my business to you, that you 3 from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed unto the sea, which hath requited him and his innocent child. for which foul deed the powers delaying, not forgetting, have incensed the seas and shores, yea, all the creatures against your peace. Thee of thy son, Alonso, they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering perdition worse than any death can be all at once, shall step by step attend you and your ways, whose wraths to guard you, from which here, in this most desolate isle, else falls upon your heads, is nothing but heart sorrow and clear life ensuing.
Enter the shapes again, and dance with mocks and mows, and carrying out the table.
Bravely the figure of this harpy hast thou performed, my Ariel. A grace it had devouring. Of my instruction hast thou nothing bated in what thou hadst to stay. So, with good life and observation strange, my meaner ministers their several kinds have done. My high charms work, and these mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They now are in my power, and in these fits I leave them, while I visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose is drowned, and his and mine loved darling.
In the name of something holy, sir, why stand you in this strange stare?
Oh, it is monstrous, monstrous. Methought the billows spoke and told me of it. The winds did sing it to me in the thunder. That deep and dreadful organ pipe pronounced the name of Prosper. It did base my trespass. Therefore my son i' the ooze is bedded, and I'll seek him deeper than e'er plummet sounded, and with him here lie mudded.
But one fiend at a time I'll fight the legions o'er.
I'll be thy second.
All three of them are desperate. Their great guilt, like poison given to work a great time after, now gins to bite the spirits. I do beseech you, that are of suppler joints, follow them swiftly and hinder them from what this ecstasy may now provoke them to.
Follow, I pray you.